Welcome everybody to our webinar on how to generate sales through turbulent times whilst working from home. This is going to be delivered by Peter Dickinson. I want to introduce myself. I'm the project manager for the Growth Support Programme, and if I can help in any way after the webinar, then please get in touch. I'll pass on to Peter Dickinson now to start the webinar. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you.
Sandra, did you want to jump in first?
No. Myself and Rebecca will be a double act.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, welcome everybody. This is my first Boost webinar. I've packed a lot into today. If you complete the feedback and contact form at the end, which will be sent to you, you'll then get a copy of the slides. The slides include actions for you to get on and work on straight away. Okay, so we're going to look at how you're going to generate sales through turbulent times whilst working from home. Okay, so as a result of the corona pandemic, Boost Lancashire's Growth Hub is putting all its efforts into helping business, and it's launched a lot of webinars in a very short space of time. I know I spent the weekend writing 3, and there's a lot more listed at the end, so that you can get yourself up to speed on whatever issues you feel that you need to address, because we're all facing uncertain times. This Boost Business Lancashire is funded, an EU-funded programme up to the tune of 6 million. It's up to December 2021, and it's building on the previously very successful Boost programmes. There'll be contact details at the end, should you wish to find out more. Okay, so we're just going on to housekeeping. It's important you mute your microphones because we've got a lot of people on the webinar today. Please use chat to ask a question. Sandra, my colleague, will be making notes. And we'll be working our way through the questions at the end. Please be positive and professional. At the bottom of each of the slides is, or some of the slides are blue writing. These are suggested actions for you. On some of them, I'll be asking you to type into chat with your answers, and we'll try and pick up on those as the chat comes in. And yes, questions at the end, and the session will also be recorded as well, so you get my dulcet tones should you wish. So very briefly about myself: business and digital coach. I've got a few qualifications. I run an agency which is a hybrid digital marketing agency, so we do it for people, but we also train people on how to do it for themselves. I've been around, worked with a lot of companies. I've been an associate with Winning Pitch now for 6 years. And I've been using technology since 1984. So if you want to get the history books out, I started using technology with punch cards. So big machines, big rooms. And now all that stuff works in your pocket. Okay. So we're going to use a lot of digital marketing techniques to generate sales. It's what we're currently marketing a lot. We've lost some turnover as a business, but we're also winning new customers even in the middle of COVID. So we're actually living it as well. So we know what to do, and I'm going to tell you some of the, give you an idea of some of the things you can be doing. Some of you may be absolutely going really busy like we are, but it's mainly because customers have become quite high maintenance and need a lot of looking after. Or some of you may have furloughed your staff and you're just doing emergency cover. So we're going to give you ideas for both of those situations. So we're going to look at how you can demonstrate your expertise in your customers. We're going to improve the effectiveness of your website. All this stuff needs to carry on, even through COVID. Social media, through keeping your brand alive and generating inquiries. Email marketing to keep in touch. and then some LinkedIn, and then we'll dive into questions. So if we don't cover anything here, I'll be pleased to answer anything else that you have, any burning questions at the end. Okay, so why are we doing this? Well, pretty much a large majority of the planet is now digital. A lot of Facebook covers now a quarter of the planet. LinkedIn is actually 675 million. I've just spotted that is slightly out of date. Half the workforce now are 35, under 35s, and they're millennials, and they are digitally native. They want to do things in a digital way, not through old-fashioned picking up the phone and so forth. And if you think back to all the things that have changed, and these are in just my lifetime, I saw the telex go out, saw the fax come in, saw the fax go out, a thing called CompuServe for doing email, web, social, instant messaging. We're now going to video, we'll be into interactive video. And these are all the tools that you can use to generate business. Okay. I'm not going to go through each of these. We do in the workshops, but it just gives you a flavor. This is a subset of the icons that I could have put on that screen. It's becoming a lot more complex. I don't think everybody's quite caught up to the fact that these systems are all interlinked like this. So you may have your products and services. You may do some, find out how people find them on Google. You might then produce some content, which goes on like a blog or news or pages, which goes onto your website. You may then push it out on social media. You might do some LinkedIn. So you might put an article out there and then post that onto your LinkedIn profile. More and more, we're doing video for companies, landing page videos, short explainer videos, ads, videos for ads. So at some point during the rest of this year, you need to get your head around what you can do in that respect. Getting yourself found on Google. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks so that you can get there without paying for an expert. Because it's all data, it's all digital, you need to be able to measure things. So typing into chat now, what does your system look like? Which elements of digital marketing do you use? And apologies for that typo. So if you type into chat, which do you use a website? Do you use LinkedIn? Do you do social media? Okay. Okay, so Sandra's using LinkedIn social media. Tim Smith, web and LinkedIn. Wendy's using pretty much everything. Okay, somebody's using Insta, but not too much. MailChimp, yeah, thank you. Okay, so you're starting to see it, and somebody's DLE is using YouTube, which I think will become more and more, and Alice Newton Lemming as well. So great, that's great, thank you. Okay, need to do a little bit of marketing foundations. So there's the human element. When you buy anything, when you buy a service or a product and so forth, you may not feel it, but you need to go down the know, like, trust route. You need to get to know whatever it is, the solution you're looking at. You need to like it, and then you need to trust it, because you're taking a risk. You're parting with some money, but it's not really the money that's the thing. You're taking time to do something out of your day, and so you need to trust that whatever you're going to buy will actually work for you, because you're taking a leap of faith that when you hand over your money, that what you'll get back is what will help you solve either a problem or a desire. I think you've all probably heard of post-purchase remorse, where you bought something and you think, oh, that didn't quite do. So it's your job as in terms of marketing is to make sure that people buy what they actually need. So how does that work out in a sort of digital marketing way? Well, it's about what do I need in terms of awareness. So it could be I cycled down the west coast of Ireland last summer, and one of the things was I needed new trainers, and there are quite a lot of specialists, but I thought, right, okay, what do I need? Then I had to figure out, well, what sort of solution do I need? Do I have those things with studs on, or do I have things with clips on, or I do just have something with a solid sole, which doesn't flex so much. Then I had to go and look at the supplier, so I'd be back and forth doing research on that. And in the end, I ended up go outdoors to buy what I wanted, so that I could see them, feel, and touch them, rather than just buying it online. So that's a basic funnel. If you Google digital marketing funnels or sales funnels or marketing funnels, they're generally a bit more complex, but I wanted you to see how it mapped onto the know, like, trust, which is the human element. So what sort of tools do I use to create awareness? Well, you might use social media, you might use blogs, you might have video, you might do webinars like today. On the acquisition side, when you signed up to this webinar, you acquired your email address, or William Pitch acquired your email address, so that with your consent, they can send information to you, more information, get you more in depth, which then takes you on to engagement. So at acquisition stage, you can use a webinar, you can use ebooks, social conversation, video landing pages to acquire somebody's contact details. And then you go on to either web chat. This was, again, a month ago, so it now is probably more like Zoom and team meetings, Microsoft Teams. And then hopefully, there's no sales pitch at the end of this webinar, but in other webinars or anything like that, you'd hope to then either do a quote or buy. So then you can see the sales cycle there. So one of the things that I often come across when talking to people is that they say, who do you sell to? And they go, oh, well, anybody. Well, to be successful online, you need to be really specific. So for your customer profile, you need the industry sector that you're targeting. So we might go for, we work with a lot of industrial manufacturing type businesses. We might chase after the MD as a managing director. Geography is Lancashire. Demographics doesn't apply to manufacturing, but it could be male, female, and young, old, etc. What are the challenges they face? So for manufacturers, industrial, they don't really get marketing. So we have to give them a lot of support around how they do the marketing. And their goals, being a manufacturer, would be to get more sales. And then it's how frequently we can target them. So not on chat, but you should just write down what your customer profile is. And you need to identify the sector, job, the location, the challenges, and what's the impact? What the impact is the customer looking for? Again, these slides will be available if you send in your feedback form, where you'll have these jobs on it. Okay, so in chat, why do people buy from you? Do they buy because of the quality of your work? Do they buy because you deliver great customer service? Is it a convenience thing? Are you local? Have you got some sort of differentiation so that people struggle to buy it somewhere else? Do they go to you specifically for your expertise, or do you sell on price? You just take a minute and then think, and then in chat, sort of write down, sort of put in the sort of why people can buy from you, just one or two reasons. So Gavin, relationships. Yep, I need to add that to the screen. So Margaret, quality of the product and great customer service. Got price coming in there. Trust and experience. Passion. Yeah. You always want to buy from somebody who's passionate about what they do. And somebody who's on expertise there, knowledge of the product. Another one, got quality. Okay. Trust and experience. Okay. So thank you for that. So you can see people don't just compete on price. There's lots of other areas, and thankfully, I've only seen price a few times, because if you can compete on other areas, you're competing on you with your skill sets, not what people are looking at the bottom line. Okay. So we're going to look at some elements. We're going to look at a thing called keyword management. So before you write anything for your website, I need to give you an idea of some of the tools you can use to make sure that what you use and write about is actually what customers are actually looking for. So you don't need to be a guru or an expert to do this. It's actually really simple. It's a lot of hard work instead. So we're going to look at websites, social media, lead gen, using LinkedIn and email marketing. Okay, this is really important. If you notice when you type into Google what you're looking for, you'll normally type in 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 words. That's really important. And those are called long tail keywords, because you're searching with what's called intent. You know, you're looking for a solution. You're looking looking for a supplier to solve a problem for you. So whenever a customer uses a highly specific search or phrase, they do tend to be looking, and it's called buyer's intent. So examples might be part-time zero bookkeeping Preston. You know, that's pretty specific. Somebody is actually looking for a bookkeeper in Preston. And again, WordPress design Blackburn or divorce solicitor Burnley. So, so basically, how do you find customers on Google? How do your customers find you on Google? So other than type your name in the business. One of the things we do find, we see obviously a lot of companies' web stats, and the highest search by a long shot is the name of the company. That's how most people will find your website. And if you looked at the traffic to your website, it'll be all on your company name, very little on what else you do. So what you need to start to do is think, right, okay, what do I need to say on my website that people will actually search into Google? And I'm going to give you some tools now. So in August, Google did an update on introduced an algorithm about you needed to show your expertise, get links from other websites, and have a thing called SSL certificates, and put social proof on your website. That's testimonials from customers. Neil Patel has produced a free tool, and if you type in this address or you just search for Uber Suggest, it's free, and you can start to find out the keywords that you need to be writing about. This is the tool itself. So you can type in your domain, and it will tell you all the keywords that about your website. And interestingly, you can also put your competitor's website address in there, and it will tell you what keywords they can be found for. So if you're a bit short of ideas, start with your competitors and start to find out what they're being found for. And these are some of the keywords that came out for ourselves. So I think I typed in digital marketing strategy, and then it gives you all the other things that people might search for you on. It's a really useful tool. It's absolutely free. There is a paid version, but the free version is very good. We have the paid one, but for most people you don't, because we run projects through it as well. So again, mentioned about search on the competitors, type in any domain. You can also use a tool to find out which keywords your competitors are used for. And again, go to there to do that research. Find out what people are actually typing in to find the sort of things, services and products that you sell. So you may have seen previous webinars, people saying you need to write 300 to 500 words. You now need to write 2,000 words. So there's a few ways around that. You can sort of bullet point it and then find a content writer who'll pad it out for you. You can just take your time, say doing a few hundred words a week, something like that. And it really has to tell the story of your products or service. It has to contain the language that you would use with a customer. So one of the things we do is we do some stuff for a humidifier company. They make desiccant humidifiers for food production. So you can imagine if we write articles about that, describing the whole process, what goes into it, who uses it, how it's used, and so forth, and use the technical terms, it's really easy for us to get that to rank on page 1. Okay, one of the things I'll go back to actually, if you do quite a lot of stuff for charity, that does really, really well on social media. Even on sort of business to business company Facebook pages. We work with a construction company and they do stuff around hedgehogs, build hedgehog houses for them, and that does really well on Facebook, and it just adds personality to a website. One of the other things actually is case studies. You're telling a story of a client's problem, what the solution was, and what the impact was. So if you can write stories around that, so that you're the good person coming in, fixing their problem, and then they give a testimonial saying, yes, that was a great job. Customers love to see how you solve problems for people. Okay. One of the things we're finding is that we're coming across a lot of websites with clients where they've kind of been abandoned. Now, a few years ago, that was fine, but it's not today. You do need to keep on top of the things in this list. There's a program called gtmetrics.com. It's free. Stick your website URL into that and see how fast it is. If you get anything above C's, so it's rated A to E, or A to F, sorry. If you get a C or above, you can pat yourselves on the back. Anything below a C, you need to talk to your web designer, because it means that if it's slow on a desktop, it's going to be even slower on a mobile site. And Google are now penalizing sites that aren't quick on mobile. And in fact, quite a lot of the time they're doing doing searches based on your mobile site and not on your actual desktop site. Responsiveness. If you've got an Apple Mac, you can drag a window and you should see your website change. I'm not sure how you do that on a Windows machine, but you can just bring it up on your smartphone. But you must make sure that it is fully responsive. We're going to talk about SSLs in a minute. Ease of use, how easy is it for them to use? Calls of action. People, for some reason on a website, don't tell the customer what they want them to do. They just expect them to browse around and somehow guess what the company wants. Make sure you tell the customer, tell the visitor what you want them to do. We're going to talk about measurements later. You do need to have compliant cookie bars, which is where it says, do you want to accept cookies? Yes or no. And you do need your full name, full company name, address, and registration number on the site. It's It's been a requirement for a long time, since the 2004 Companies Act. And what I like to see more of is web chat. That's down at the bottom right-hand corner, the ability for people to be able to talk to you via chat. And we'll look at that in a minute. One of the things you do need to check after this seminar is, has your site got security on it? There's now plugins, free plugins, which your developer can put into your website, which will make the site a lot more secure. We're seeing more sites being tested for their security. And the other thing is, make sure there is a backup. Don't assume you've got a backup in place. A lot of hosting companies don't back up your site. So if you ever lose it, you can't put it back. So make sure, whoever's looking after your website, that you do have a backup. Make sure that at least once a month, the plugins are updated. We've seen sites hacked because they've not been updated. And in Uber Suggest, you can use a site audit, and it'll tell you what state your website's in. One of the other things we're finding is that companies don't actually know how to get into their own website. And also they can't get into where the domain is. So when you get the slide deck, go away and ask the developer, or if you know yourself, just check that you've got access to your domain and also the website. And you think, well, how's these things helping me generate sales? Well, if you ever get a hacked website, that will put your sales into reverse, I'm afraid. So it is really important stuff. So this is GT Metrics. I cheated. This is quite a light site, so it gave me an A and a B. But if you get 2 C's here, that's absolutely fine. It's a bit small. I should have blown it a bit bigger. But here is the padlock. When you type in your domain name into the bar at the top, is there a padlock there? If there isn't, you need to get that fixed quickly, because again, Google will penalize you. So even if your website was doing okay, it won't if you don't fix that fairly soon. It's very cheap to add, by the way, so it's not oh my God, it's going to break the bank. Another opportunity here to get web chat. Now, you don't have to be live. People think, oh, you've got to be there on all the time. If you use a product like one called Intercom, then you can put this on fairly cheaply at, I think it's about $49 a month. There are sort of free versions, but they tend to be live. Whereas here, when you click on it, it will say typically answers in a couple of hours, and you can access it from your mobile. So even if you're not in the office, you can still respond in a timely manner. There are more clever things you can do with it afterwards, but it's a pretty low-cost way and an easy way of getting web chat on your site and making your site more accessible to what is now half of the generation who are digitally native. So social media, the ones you need to think about. We're going to talk about Google My Business in a minute. LinkedIn if you're business to business. If you're still business to business, Facebook can work for you. For businesses, selling to other businesses, Facebook can be a great way of adding personality. If you've got a corporate looking website, you could put more charity events and things like that onto your Facebook. Instagram, it's interesting that I'm seeing more and more businesses. So for example, the Growth Hub in Manchester advertises Venture Fest, and I actually signed up to the last Venture Fest through Instagram. Twitter is very sector specific. Before you start venturing into Twitter, make sure that your sector uses it. So if you're in legal or education, then they use Twitter a lot. I mentioned TikTok because that's rapidly up and coming, more so at the moment as people try to outdo each other for stunts they can do at home. But it is starting to grow. Facebook, if you're needing to get a volume, so we're selling if you're selling to consumers, then you very much need to now think about paying for it. And again, on Instagram, it's now quite hard to grow on Instagram organically. You actually need to advertise. And then you've got LinkedIn, which is quite a very specialist advertising and needs to be done carefully. So again, you've got some actions there at the bottom of the screen. We often encounter customers who have got quite strong views on social media. If those strong views are negative, I would suggest that you get over it, because it's there, it's here to stay. It's a massive part of any acquisition of new customers, and you just need to either find somebody in the business to do it, or use an agency if you have to. Thing to do is how important it is to your business is probably dependent on what your competitors are doing. If you like to be ahead of the game, obviously you should be using it. If you're just doing it just to keep a presence, then you must do at least what your competitors are doing. So they should give you an idea of what to do. Okay. Google My Business. So if you type in your company name and your location, so in our case, our main office is in Salford. If you type in Cub Salford, it'll bring up our page. If you're running a business and you've got and this appears, you need to make sure you're able to access it. Now, what we're finding is a lot of companies don't know how to access their Google My Business account. This can be really bad, because if somebody puts a 1-star review on it, you're in trouble. You will not be able to respond. Now, with Google reviews, you can't. It's very difficult to get them retracted. But if you respond in a timely manner, then people, and if it was one of these keyboard warriors, who just like doing that kind of thing, you'll show that you're a professional organisation. If you can't respond in a timely manner, then that will reflect badly on your business. So if you do nothing else other than research Google My Business after this, we, just as an aside for generating inquiries, we recently launched an MOT garage for a client, and we had several thousand views going through it within a few months because of Google My Business. So it's in terms of helping your business generate sales whilst you sleep, then if this is a must-do job following this webinar. Okay. So social media tasks, send posts out regular and relevant. Do what you can, but do it regularly. So if you don't do it once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever, do it, but do it once every 2 weeks. Don't do a load and then abandon it. Just keep a steady drip going through. If you get a chance, look at the analytics. And then if you can, look at what works and what doesn't work. So again, another task, write down when you're going to do something on social media. So if you're a big LinkedIn fan, is it once a week, once a month, etc. Few people are putting up Instagram. There you tend to have to do it more regularly than that. Okay, just a reminder, posting on social media. The ideal is if you use your own images, but or you can use the supplier marketing materials, sometimes quite good. If not, there are a lot of free ones. Other than that, you need to buy it. Do not use images off Google. The Getty images have and a number of other companies have traps out there that if you download their image and use it on a commercial website, they will go after you asking for thousands of pounds. I don't have time to explain that story now, but it took me 6 months to sort a problem out on a project Getty were trying to go after us for several £1,000s for one image, which normally costs a £5. So be warned. Okay, email marketing. I don't know why people don't use, send a sort of email, simple newsletter once a month to their client base. It keeps your brand in front of them. You can communicate new ideas. You can get them interested in things. Nothing spectacular is going to happen, but sometimes when you think of a really great campaign, you'll generate inquiries. And it also keeps your brand in front of people. Now, you don't have to go bonkers on this. Just a simple email style newsletter will actually get you a decent open rate. If it's written in a professional, hey Fred, we're just working on some things. We're doing some projects, X, Y, and Z, and so forth. You can keep it a really friendly email if you want to. The less designed they are, the more effective they are. Is our findings. There is a Lancashire company, Wired Marketing, who will have a person on the phone and will do stuff for you if it's all too much. MailChimp's free. We use Active Campaign, and there's a couple of others. Zoho Campaign's quite popular. Okay, so habits: have a content plan, figure out what you're going to send out, post it regularly, find suitable images. If you can, write a 500 to 1,000 word article, or every quarter write a 2,000 word article. Those long articles are the things that will get you found. We only do those now because we found them far more effective than writing smaller, shorter articles. Okay, we're on to lead gen now. So unfortunately, there's no silver or magic bullet to this. It is hard work. It is, in terms of cost, it's cheaper. It's about a third the price if you outsource it against telemarketing. And you can do it anytime, night or day. So the fundamentals are: you need to get engagement. It's your key objective. You need to educate or entertain, or if you can do both, that's brilliant. You have to have content that people actually want to share. I did a short rant about HMRC. Because I run a business, I deferred the VAT because I don't have to pay it back for 12 months. So I don't know what's coming up. So I thought, well, that'd be useful to have in the bank. But they sent an email saying that I needed to pay, but it was an automated one. So I stuck that on LinkedIn, and sort of saying, well, this is a bit strange. What does everybody else think? It got well over 4,000 views. So if you make something of interest, people will share it. Build trust as an expert. That's what you've got. I noticed in the Zoom conversations that people were saying expert, and so you've got to play on that. And I say build and nurture your audience. So reaching out. Okay, so in LinkedIn, you'll have received probably in your inboxes some really bad people saying, I do this, I do that. They've spent absolutely zero time getting to know you or what it is your problems are or what the challenges are. So as in a networking meeting, physical networking, you're going to use open questions to qualify your prospects, and then only close on an action when you know you can help them, when you really know you can help them. So it may take 3 or 4 goes in a conversation, drilling down, asking more and more questions before you get to them. And what we're finding, in the past I started saying, oh, would you like to meet for a coffee? And that worked a few times, but actually people are so busy. And of course now in COVID, you're stuck with a phone call. And I'll start with a phone call. I think people are getting better at using Zoom, Teams, Skype, etc. But quite a lot would prefer not to have the video on, although that is changing. So I would then start with a phone call. Okay, so you need to write what are called funnel questions. You need to write down the top benefits of what you do. Write down 3 associated stories of how you've then helped a client. Because you've got to think, they've got a problem, you've got the solution, and then you've got to demonstrate the impact. So you start with some open questions and then narrow it down. So we start with how's business, how's marketing working for you, what's the biggest challenge you're facing at the moment. So again, when you've got the slide deck, sit down and write down an opening question that you would feel comfortable saying in a face-to-face conversation that help you identify whether they're a prospect or not. So for example, if I ask, pardon me, how is your marketing working for you? I'll get one or two responses. Hey, the marketing is working great, or no, gosh, real problems. The guy whose marketing is working really well, I might say, oh, brilliant, thank you. Give us a call if you need any help, or if you want to chat, an independent chat. If the guy's saying, oh no, in a real mess, I'd say, right, okay, which bit's not working for you? I wouldn't leap in and say, hey, we're an agency at that point. I'd find out more. You know, which bit of the problem? Has he got a problem with video, with the website, and so on? And you drill down so you're fairly clear what the problem is. This is what the majority of people don't do, and that's why LinkedIn as a prospecting system has got quite a bad rap, because people just try and sell stuff to you. So get your profile as best as you can. Try to get past the 500 connections, so you look like you're credible and people trust you. If you wanted a live example, you can use either mine or Charlie's profile to get ideas from. Now we come to the sort of paid, the free and paid. If you're serious about doing stuff on LinkedIn to find prospects, then I'm afraid you're stuck with the Sales Navigator. The business premium version is useless in my view. I've done some stuff on the free version for clients where I've been managing their digital market. I've been their interim digital marketing manager. But you're limited to so little each month that it's hard to make progress. Now, of course, you do get it for free trial on the Sales Navigator. So, you know, have a go with the free version before parting with any money. So basically, a LinkedIn process: search for individuals. You then connect with them. We use an automated tool, but all you need to do is go onto the profile, press connect, and then add a note. Always add a note saying, hi, love to connect, love to network, something along those lines. You don't need to don't go into a big explanation. And then when they connect, start a conversation with them, and then use the open questions to qualify them in or out, just as you would in a networking meeting. Okay, oops. Okay, so I think we're now into, so one of the things we wanted to do before finishing today was if anybody's got any ideas for future webinars before we start the questioning. If you could type them into chat as we're answering the questions. I've just seen a thing from Ruben. The question here is, what's your take on Duck Soup and its alternatives to Sales Navigator? Well, actually, you need Duck Soup and you need Sales Navigator. Duck Soup, for everybody who doesn't know, is a tool for viewing people's profiles. It automatically connects and sends us a message. So we typically will get 300 to 400 connections per month using Duck Soup, but you do need the Sales Navigator search, so you need both of them. It can be extremely effective. One guy last month, we got 900 connections because basically every connection we sent out, they connected. Somebody's just asked, when you say the company number, do you mean the number registered to the company's house? Yes, I do. Yeah, your company's house number needs to be on it. It's 2004 Companies Act. would be useful to go through GDPR. Yep, in one of the future webinars, they'll be doing GDPR. So somebody more expert than me will be doing that. Okay, Sandra, have we got any more questions coming in?
Words long.
Okay, does everybody have any questions? SEO advice will be good to do. Yeah, that's a whole seminar on its own, I'm afraid. But yes, that'd be a good one for a workshop. They could expand on what I've just done.
Did you get the question?
Sorry?
The one from Tim Smith where he said, where do you put the long form article, which you mentioned earlier?
Right, okay. So on your website, you'll have pages which are static, and you'll have posts if you look at the back end, and then generally called on menus news, insights, blog, case studies, something like that. And that's where the long form articles go. Google doesn't actually care whether it's a page or a post. What it cares is about the content. It sees it all the same. But you use it the posts section of the WordPress admin panel, and generally on most people's sites, it's either say news, case studies, or insights.
Okay, and just a general one, Peter, and the methods of social media that people use. It seems to be a consensus that the majority use LinkedIn. Yeah,
which is for most people a business-to-business tool. LinkedIn's really good, and if you play by the rules, and if you are curious, if you ask open questions, if you comment, like, and share in a positive way other people's materials. So, for example, if you are, I'll call it stalking, professional stalking, a prospect of say a CEO of a large company, and if he posts something, you can help yourself by going onto that post and posting something that contributes to the thoughts of the article. So it can be. I didn't mention groups on there because we've got a group, and it's really hard to get anything out of it. So it's about you on your personal profile being proactive in a positive way.
Okay. I see Ruben's just, have you seen the chat from Ruben? How often does Google change the rules, and are you getting...
Okay, it's about 3,000 times a year, 2,000 to 3,000 times a year they change the rules. Are you given notice? No, there's no notice. We use a tool called Moz. There's one called SEMrush as well, but I like Moz because it actually shows you where all the Google, SEMrush does as well. Both of them show you when the updates are, and every month there's a chunk of them, and there's no notice, I'm afraid. And they don't give you the rules. Constantly having to research it.
Yeah. Just in regard to where do people buy from you, also with regard to, I think relationships and customer service is one of the top things, and your reputation and your quality of your product. And like you say, price is not that important if you can provide all the other things. It seems like, I know from my own personal experience, you've got to know, like, and trust the person before you want to buy from them anyway. Exactly.
And it's I'm glad to see price was mentioned very few times.
Yes.
Because if you can, your business will be a lot more profitable if you sell on everything else other than price.
Yes. That's basically it. I've got no more, nothing to report on the questions. I don't know if Rebecca has. Is she there?
There's a question there which I'll read out. As a sole trader, do I need to register with Companies House? No, you're a sole trader, so your website, you're not a company. You should have something on the website which says who what the sort of trading name is, if you're trading under somebody, or whether it's your own name. they need to be able to identify whether you're a corporate identity or a, who the identity is behind the website. The reason why it's brought out is so many website companies were just not putting anything up, and the people were expecting people to deal with an unknown quantity. So that's why that was introduced. But no, sole trader, you don't need to register.
Right.
Can I just ask everyone, to type into the chat where they heard about the webinar, and if there's any kind of particular topics that you would like us to cover for future webinars, and then we can look at providing those for clients in the future.
Danny, you were going to ask a question. Well, if you go to Uber Suggest, it will do the free SEO audit for you, and it'll be loads better than you get them from somebody trying to sell you it.
That's great. Have you got anything else to add, Peter?
No, I've just put up the future webinars.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
So that you can see.
Sorry, I've got my chat screen and I can't see those at the moment.
It is impressive, and it shows the strength of the Boost program, that they could put such a wide-ranging program on so quickly. I know I've spent the weekend writing webinars, but I'm sure it looks like quite a few other members of the team have as well, which is fantastic. Lots of useful stuff to get your head around, and get the idea for me with this COVID thing is to come out stronger than you went in.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Once we've kind of received sign-in sheets, we'll be passing the slides on for information, and we will be in contact if there's any further help that we can give you through the growth support program.
Yep.
And thank you very much, Peter. That was great.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks very much. Thanks. Thank you.
Peter, keep safe and well, everybody.
Everybody, yes, keep safe. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.